Mangwanani mwalelepo vukenjani kekwas vanabe Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Berry and Diana Master.
A very good morning to you, Africa, and a very good morning to you, Ashwin.
Good morning, Diana.
You have to know that today is one of my favorite days.
And why is that?
Because today is World Creativity and Innovation Day.
All right,
yes.
Tell us about it.
So, do you know that this day was actually established by the United Nations?
That's very interesting.
Yes.
Because you think they usually focus on the most serious humanitarian
Yes.
stuff,
Well, I
so
mean,
creativity
is
essential, but you know, you wouldn't expect them to champion that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they did, because they had the belief that there is no universal understanding of creativity. And so they created World Creativity and Innovation Day, and it provides people with an excuse to try to solve old problems in new ways, with the potential of finding better and more effective methods to accomplish our goals. Let's take a look at World Innovation and Creativity Day.
Never to part, can I give you my unconditionally? Oh, 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 oh.
Today is Thursday, the 21st of April, and these are the top stories on Africa Good Morning. Nearly 2,000 Kenyan police mentally unfit to serve. Almost 2,000 Kenyan police officers are mentally unfit to do their work, the head of the National Police Service says. Inspector General Hilary Mutambai on Tuesday told a forum of bishops and senior clergy that they had found the surprising number of cases after medically examining all police officers. Kenya has some 100,000 police officers working under the National Police Service. The revelation comes amid rising number of depression and suicide within the police force. Mr. Mtambai said that they had started the process of discharging some of the affected police officers from duty, noting the importance of having police who are mentally fit. Our tool of work is the gun, and when one bullet is discharged, the implications are serious, he said. He, however, said removing the officers from work was not easy because of the elaborate procedures involved. There have been growing concerns in recent years over the mental health of police officers, and the government has been moving to address the matter.
It's very important to talk about mental health
in all sects.
Moving over, South Africa's Home Affairs Minister vows to jail all undocumented foreigners. South Africa's Home Affairs Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has vowed to lock up all undocumented immigrants resident in that country. His remarks come amid attacks on foreign nationals by vigilante groups under an operation code named Dudula, which claims to be targeting undocumented foreigners. Motsoaledi was addressing an ANC regional conference in the Eastern Cape, where the minister pledged that, quote, unlike other coward ANC leaders, unquote, his views on the scourge of undocumented foreign nationals running amok in the country will never be censored. Motsoaledi said South Africa is the only sovereign country in the world where it is open season for rascals who have committed serious crimes in their countries of birth, adding that something is going wrong in the continent and South Africa is on the receiving end. He said there is a word called xenophobia, and every time you try to show something is wrong, it is considered xenophobia. Motsoaledi said he was determined to see the undocumented foreigners thrown in jail, locked in, and having the keys thrown away, and only then will he step down.
Moving over to Ethiopia, only 4% of required aid has reached Tigray during the mini truce, and this is according to the WHO chief. 3 weeks after the mini truce in the Tigray region of Ethiopia, an underwhelming 4% of required food aid has reached targeted areas. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, the Director General of the World Health Organization, said less than 100 trucks had entered the region in almost a month. Food aid is delivered into Tigray, mostly by by road through the Afar region, and for the situation to normalize, humanitarian aid givers say 100 trucks must enter the region with food, non-food items, and fuel every day. Eritrean and Ethiopian forces are blamed for sealing off 7 million people from the world in a war that started in November 2020. They are fighting against the Tigray People's Liberation Front, a left-wing ethnic nationalist paramilitary group. Both warring factions are blamed for gross human rights violations. The Ethiopian National Disaster Risk Management Commission in a statement said TPLF's invasion of the Afar state, where the fighting has moved since the mini-truce in Tigray, had resulted in 1.3 million citizens in need of immediate food aid. Now, NDRMC Public Relations Head Debebe Zawede said in a statement that the conflict is not only increasing the displaced citizens, but also the main hindrance to providing necessary humanitarian support to the needy.
Moving over, children in more countries suffer mystery hepatitis. Cases of hepatitis of unknown origin, first detected in UK children, have now been recorded in 4 more European countries and the US, the EU Health Agency said on Tuesday. On Friday, the World Health Organization said it was monitoring 84 cases of severe acute hepatitis that were reported in Britain since April 5 and said it expected more cases in coming days. Cases have now been recorded in children in Denmark, Ireland, the Netherlands, and Spain, the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control said in a statement on Tuesday. 9 suspected cases have also been recorded in the U.S. state of Alabama. Investigations are ongoing in all countries reporting cases. At present, the exact cause of hepatitis in these children remains unknown. In most cases, the children did not have a fever, but some of the cases in the UK were so severe that patients had to be transferred to specialist children's liver units, while 6 children had liver transplants, both the WHO and the ECDC have said. The infection mainly affected children aged under 10, and symptoms included jaundice, diarrhea, vomiting, and abdominal pain.
Now in our next story, public bus catches fire on Maputo's Avenida de Moçambique. A public transport bus caught fire while in service and in motion on Maputo's Avenida de Moçambique yesterday morning. The vehicle, which was carrying 80 passengers, came to a stop shortly after exiting the so-called Misao Rock roundabout. There were no fatalities, Mirama learned at the scene, but some passengers were injured while fighting to get out via the bus's front door, the back door being closed and the driver having already left the vehicle. Mirama also heard reports of children fainting due to the smoke inside the vehicle. Sounds terrible indeed. I'm glad everybody survived. This is still Africa Good Morning. Those were the first half of our top stories. More news after the break.
Welcome back to Africa Good Morning. Now getting into the second half of our top stories. We start off in Nigeria, where 5 killed in a bar bomb attack. At least 5 people have been killed and 19 others seriously injured in a blast in Taraba State in northeast Nigeria. The explosion on Tuesday evening occurred at a bar in Iware, a busy commercial center near the state capital, Jalingo. Police spokesman Abdullahi Usman said one suspected attacker had died, but it wasn't clear whether he was a suicide bomber. Eyewitnesses said the explosive was inside a bag that was hidden at the bar d'Ivoire. Iwara is a major market town where traders from different parts of the country buy and sell livestock and foodstuffs. In 2012, 3 suicide bombers on motorcycles rammed the convoy of a local police chief. At least 11 people, including the attackers, died in the blast, which was blamed on the Islamist militant group Boko Haram. Taraba State borders Adamawa State in the northeast and neighboring Cameroon. It had previously been spared this insurgency plaguing Nigeria's northeast.
Now in our next story, don't vote for criminals. Kenya's corruption buster pleads as voters head to polls. Kenya's Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions says it will prioritize corruption and criminal activities linked to the general elections slated for 9 August. In a statement, the ODPP said it would like to clarify that the office intends to prioritize election-related offenses. Top of the list is sexual and gender-based violence, terrorism, and its financing. This meant that while the prosecution and fight against corruption had always been a strategic agenda for the ODPP, it will not be a priority for the next 3 months, the office said. The ODPP said placing election-related corruption at the top of its agenda meant pulling together resources and time for it. It said politicians facing criminal charges could seek election. Only politicians who had been convicted of crimes and handed sentences of more than 6 months were disqualified from standing as candidates in the elections. Voters are set to elect the president, members of the National Assembly and Senate, county governors, and members of the 47 county assemblies. As such, the ODPP advised the electorate to conduct due diligence in making choices during the plebiscite.
Now moving over to South Africa, 12 Zimbabweans appear in court after failed robbery attempt at Benoni Transport Company. A group of 12 Zimbabwean nationals who tried to rob a transport company in Benoni, east of Johannesburg, have been remanded in custody after their first appearance in the Benoni Magistrates Court on Tuesday. The 4 nationals are facing 6 counts of attempted murder, 3 counts of robbery with aggravating circumstances, 5 counts of possession of an unlicensed firearm, 2 counts of possession of ammunition, and 12 counts of being illegal in the country. The National Prosecuting Authorities, Lumka Mahanjana, said the accused were handcuffed after police received information about the robbery. Upon their arrival, it is alleged that the accused started shooting. However, the police managed to arrest the accused persons. Out of the 13 accused, only Malambo is legal in the country. However, Vilakazi and Gumbeni allege that they possess South African identity documents, though the Department of Home Affairs is still yet to confirm this. One accused is currently in hospital after he sustained injuries when he fell off the palisade fence trying to flee from the crime scene, Mahanjana said.
Now in our next story, Togo resumes prison visits after 2-year ban. Togo is allowing prison visits to resume from Friday, phasing out a 2-year-old ban that was imposed to help curb the spread of coronavirus. As in many African countries, family visits are crucial for many detainees as they allow relatives to bring food, clothing, and medicine. Parents of detainees, as well as friends, members of NGOs, and civil society are allowed visits starting tomorrow, 22 April. Justice Minister Pius Kokovi Agbetome said visitors will have to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination or a PCR test done less than 72 hours before and will have to wear a mask. Togo imposed the ban on April 13, 2020. Now, with officially 36,969 coronavirus cases, 273 of them fatal as of April 19, the measure was considered disproportionate by many. Opposition parties and civil society groups had been lobbying for prison visits to resume.
In Ivory Coast, President Alassane Ouattara appoints new vice president. The governor of the Central Bank of West Africa states, Tiemoko Meilite Kone, has been appointed vice president of Cote d'Ivoire by President Alassane Ouattara yesterday. Ouattara further reappointed Patrick Achi to his premier post. Mr. Kone, who has headed the BCEAO since 2011, is also an economist and a well-known technocrat. The position of vice president has been vacant second since Daniel Kablan Duncan resigned on July 8, 2020, the day Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly died. Until his appointment on Tuesday, Tomoko was president of the Central Bank of West African States, also known as the BCEAO. The government stepped down in a long-expected move last Wednesday ahead of ministerial changes expected to place the emphasis on belt tightening. The Ivorian statesman Patrick Achi has been Prime Minister since March 2021.
All right, that brings us to the end of our top stories. Just after the break, Diana will be talking to the National Executive Director of Special Olympics Namibia. Stick around for that.
You're still watching Africa Good Morning. Now with me in studio today is a very special guest. This is Miss Emilia Nzuzi, who is the National Executive Director of Special Olympics Namibia. Welcome, Miss Emilia.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I am great, thank you. Thank you for joining us in studio today. All right, so start off by telling us about Special Olympics, when the organization was established, as well as the mission of the organization.
Okay, thank you so much. Special Olympic Namibia was founded in 1998. The mission of Special Olympic is to provide round sports for people with intellectual disability, which is our children and adults. And these missions have to be not established, but to be implemented in 6 regions currently that are active.
All right. And we know that a very special event is on the cards, namely the Special Olympics that are taking place in Germany, if I'm not mistaken, next year. Now, however, before that, Namibia has the opportunity to send a women's soccer team to the United States. Can you please tell us about this event and Namibia's envisaged participation?
Yes, we are participating with the women's teams. I'm so excited. Specific that is a women's team that is going to participate, is because I believe in empowering women. And our team for the girls are ready to bring the medals back home, and we are so excited about that.
All right. Are you also going to be throwing around a few goals here and there?
Yes, we are during the training, definitely, and there in the pitch also trying to make my girl feel special.
Yes, of course, we love to see it. And we understand that funding is always an issue. How much will it cost to send the team to Detroit, and what are you doing in terms of fundraising?
Yeah, yes, it is quite a huge amount of money. We didn't yet receive commitment from the mother body like Special Olympic International, that how much they were able to cover. However, so far the whole process, when we plan and also do some quotation about what it's gonna cost us, is costing us around 1.1 million and 76,000 there. And this is have to cost all the transportation, the flight tickets, the sport equipment, and so on. What we are actually doing is that our main sponsor is actually NamPower. We submitted our proposal through the Disability Sport of Namibia, that we're able to share with the Minister of Youth and Sport and also NamPower to see what they can able to cover. But currently there is no confirmation yet. However, we are also sending some proposal from different companies to consider what they can able to offer. And we are also not just looking into monetary value. Like if a company wanted to sponsor, for example, girls' gears, tennis are just also welcome, or sport equipment like balls for training and so on, or covering for the camp for them to prepare, it is also welcome. We are not literally just looking for monetary values. Yes.
So whatever you can get in terms of funding and, equipment, like you said, anything that you can get that will help out the team.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And also, the ministry is committed to developing sport at school level through the IPESS program. Could you tell us about this and how SON is involved?
Yes, when we signed a partnership agreement with the GIZ, the IPES is the system that is working directly with the schools, and we are so happy that the two schools that normally is working with our athletes, which are Dagbreek and Mollison, are part of this sport. And when they were even also doing this competition, I was so happy that one of our athletes was also awarded because of the calendar that he designed. Oh, wow. And that was a wow for us, because I always promote inclusion, and it makes us feel so good, the fact that they also, it's a unified kind of, and other able bodies or schools, they are competing with ours, and ours also able to win. That was so excited for
Congratulations
us.
For the win.
Yes.
And finally, where can sponsors get a hold of you if they would like to get on board?
Currently, our office is, we are based in the Ministry of Youth complex in Katutula. The place is known that is Katutula Football for Hope, is where our office is based, is where me, myself, based, and also the sport director. Any sponsor that wanted to come on board, they can find us at the complex, because our residential address is 9109. And also people can able to reach me on my own cell phone number, which is 081-2741-540. I can also be reached on my email address, which is esonamibiadirector4@gmail.com.
All right, awesome. Do you also have a Facebook page? For example, some of the people didn't get your number or your email. Can they maybe send you a message via Facebook?
Yes, they can also contact us on our Facebook on Special Olympic NAM. They can able to find us there. There's also a contact number on our Facebook page. They can able to left a message, then we can also come back to them.
All right, so there you have it. So any sponsors from water, sports equipment, whatever that can help our Special Olympics team get to where they need to be, please do come through. So again, this was Miss Emilia Nzuzi, the National Executive Director of Special Olympics Namibia. Thank you once again for joining us, Miss Emilia.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll now take a quick ad break and return with our economic news. Stay tuned.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NSFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NSFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NSFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag payback the money.
Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning as we continue bringing you the pertinent stories happening on the African continent and beyond. Right now, we're going to cross over to Zimbabwe and have a chat with Talent Gore about what's going on the ground in Zimbabwe. Good morning, Talent.
Good morning, Ashwin. How are you doing?
We are doing fine. We are doing all right. I am here with Diana, and we're looking forward to talking to you about the following stories. Now, your first story, 35 people die in a bus accident. Truly saddening. Tell us more about that.
So initially, I was just going to talk about that particular accident, but the police has since released statistics of all the accidents that happened during the Easter and Independence holiday. So 73 people have died due to road traffic accidents during the Easter and Independence holiday, according to statistics released by the police. In a statement yesterday, National Police spokesperson Assistant Commissioner Ponyati announced that 73 people had died while 202 were injured in 264 accidents which were recorded countrywide. Of the 264 accidents, 32 were fatal. So the statistics actually revealed that there was an increase for the same period last year. During the same holidays last year, 24 people died whilst 117 were injured. So Assistant Commissioner Ponyati attributed the accidents to human error and negligence. He said that the Zimbabwe Republic Police has noted with concern the number of fatal road accidents recorded during the combined Easter and Independence holiday from the 15th to the 18th of April 2022. The fatal road accidents that occurred in Chimanimani, which was involving a bus, was the highest with 38 deaths. The bus, which had a carrying capacity of 75 people, was overloaded with more than 100 people. And the bus was carrying people which were actually going for Easter gathering in Masvingo, where they were having church Easter commemorations, the bus was carrying people from the ZCC church. So it recorded the highest during this holiday period, and it had 38 deaths.
Saddening indeed. So on Monday, it was Zimbabwe's Independence Day, and Zimbabwe celebrated 42 years of independence. Were you there at the independence celebrations?
Well, apparently the independence celebrations this year were held in Bulawayo, so I couldn't leave Harare for Bulawayo due to other obligations. But Zimbabwe marked its 42nd independence anniversary on Monday, with President Emmerson Mnangagwa presiding over the national celebrations in the second largest city of Bulawayo. For the first time in the history of the country, it was the first time that the celebrations were held in Bulawayo. The celebrations are usually held in Harare, but for this year, the president said that it was important that the celebrations be held in Bulawayo. President Emmerson Mnangagwa said that the main event in Bulawayo was in fulfillment of the government's decision to decentralize the national celebrations. The celebrations also carried an added significance in that it was the first time since the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic that the nation held a large physical gathering in Bulawayo and other provinces throughout the country to commemorate Independence Day. President Emmerson Mnangagwa said that the country's independence from Britain in 1980 was achieved through collective effort by all the people of Zimbabwe, including the gallant heroes and heroines who sacrificed their personal freedoms in order to liberate the country.
All right. Now, an estimated 840,000 school children have quit school since 2020 following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Could you please tell us more?
A United States Embassy report on the 2021 State of Human Rights in Zimbabwe revealed that 840,000 school children have quit school since 2020 following the outbreak of COVID-19. But government said that the statistics that were released by the United States Embassy in Zimbabwe fed into the hostile U.S. agenda against Zimbabwe. The Public Service Minister, Paul Mavima, said that the U.S. Embassy report released on Wednesday had affected learners had been forced into child labor, particularly in tobacco farming and artisanal mining. That is what the U.S. Report stated. It said that most of the children, they are now being forced into child labor and tobacco farming and also artisanal mining. But the government is saying that this is not true and that the U.S. Embassy is just feeding into the hostile relations between the U.S. Embassy and the Zimbabwean government. So the government dismissed these claims and said that it was not true. 840 children had not dropped out of school since the pandemic in 2020.
Okay. All right, and finally, the Meteorological Department has dispelled fears that the heavy rains which recently poured in South Africa would spill over into Zimbabwe. Can you please expand on this?
The Meteorological Department spokesperson James Ngoma said that the heavy rains which apparently poured into South Africa could not spill into Zimbabwe. He said that the heavy rains which affected KwaZulu-Natal in the past week were localized in that area and would not affect the rest of the region. He said that Zimbabwe does not expect any floods, and the floods in KwaZulu-Natal were localized in that area. As of now, we are just transitioning from summer to winter, and that we will experience a drop in temperatures. And Zimbabwe is not going to be affected by the floods which currently happened in South Africa.
KwaZulu. All right. Thank you very much, Talent, for bringing us the news stories from Zimbabwe.
Welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It is always fantastic having you on Africa Good Morning. Now, Talent's last story was about the weather, so it's only right that we check out the weather forecast up next.
Welcome back. Now you can always trust Africa Good Morning to take you on a trip to some of the countries in Africa. Just now we're in Zimbabwe, and now we cross over to Botswana, where we speak to Masego Mohwasa, who gives us the news on the ground. Good morning, Masego.
Good morning to you two in studio, and good morning, Africa.
How are you doing today? We are all good here. So we start off with our first story. Heavy rain falls in the Boteti area and causes damage. Can you expand on this?
Yes, global warming is indeed affecting the whole world, especially in Botswana here, where there have been early rainfalls heavier than usual. Houses in the Boteti area collapsed due to this rainfall. 3 houses have collapsed in the Boteti area following heavy rains experienced in the country recently. Botswana Red Cross Disaster Management Coordinator Onkemetse Joseph says a team dispatched to Kwe yesterday to assist the affected family with basic materials such as food, blankets, and clothes. Joseph says they will be viewing the situation until the end of the month to determine if any other areas are in need of assistance. Meanwhile, Joseph added that the rains were mostly experienced.
We seem to be having problems crossing over to Ms. Masego Mohwasa, but she was talking about the heavy rainfalls in the Boteti area, and I think you could see that it's quite hectic over there just from the visuals. And we're also going to be talking about the Botswana government footing 5 million puller bill for young entrepreneurs to attend Forbes 30 under 30. Talk about supporting the youth.
Right.
You know, a lot of the times, government will strictly act through policies and that kind of thing. But to support an event like this that empowers entrepreneurs is absolutely fantastic. This is still Africa Good Morning. We'll take a short break and we'll be back just now.
Have you received a loan from NSFAF? NSFAF loan is the same as any other loan. It must be paid and settled. NSFAF has a set of guidelines on how you can repay your loan and become debt-free. Therefore, it is important that you, a former beneficiary and a responsible Namibian, show your patriotism by helping pay back your loan and thus helping NSFAF become a revolving fund for the benefit of future potential students. By failing to pay back your NSFAF loan, you risk being blacklisted or having a court order against you. So arrange with the fund to pay back your loan today. For more information on how you can repay your loan, visit our website at www.nasfaf.na or visit our Facebook page or Twitter. Do the right thing and hashtag #paybackthemoney.
Money makes the world go round, so let's make sense of it all in our economic news segment. 87% of IMF loans force austerity on nations in crisis. This is according to Oxfam. The conditions of nearly 90% of the International Monetary Fund's pandemic-related loans are forcing developing nations suffering some of the world's worst humanitarian crises to implement austerity measures that fuel further impoverishment and inequality, an analysis published by Oxfam International shows. Oxfam found that 13 out of the 15 IMF loan programs negotiated during the second year of the pandemic require new austerity measures such as taxes on food and fuel or spending cuts that could put vital public services at risk. Now, Nabil Abdul, Oxfam International's senior policy advisor, said that this epitomizes the IMF's double standard. It is warning rich countries against austerity while forcing poorer countries into it. Examples of the loans include a $2.3 billion agreement between Kenya and the IMF, which includes a 3-year public sector pay freeze and increased taxes on cooking gas and food. 9 countries, including Cameroon and Senegal, are required to introduce or increase the collection of value-added taxes, which often apply to everyday products like food and clothing and fall disproportionately on people living in poverty. And Sudan, where nearly half of the population is living in poverty, has been required to scrap fuel subsidies, which will hit the poorest hardest.
Moving over, South African De Beers resumes investments. De Beers Exploration Holdings Limited has resumed investment in Angola and begins to prospect for primary diamond deposits in an area of 9,984 square kilometers in 2 Angolan municipalities in the province of Lunda Sul, and in addition to another area of 9,701 kilometers in the municipalities of Chitato, Lucapa, and Cambulo in Lunda North. De Beers renewed interest in diamond projects in Angola stems from the reforms implemented by the executive in the diamond subsector, which provides greater transparency to the processes for granting mining rights as well as greater participation in the socio-economic development of mining areas in the country. In advance, Diamantino Azevedo, the Minister of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas, said that the return of De Beers to Angola allows in the medium term a substantial increase in the exploration and commercialization of diamonds, as well as the supply of labor qualified for young Angolans. The minister also highlighted the event as a direct result of the success of the strategy to improve the business environment outlined by the executive led by President João Lourenço. Chairman of the Board of Directors, Jose Manuel Augusto Ganga Jr., clarified that the agreement will strengthen Angola's role in the exercise of diamond activity in order to position the country among the world's largest diamond producers.
Now, in our next story, Google to set up first Africa Product Development Center in Nairobi. Alphabet Inc.'s Google is investing in its first ever Africa Product Development Center in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, it said, as it positions itself to serve a growing base of internet users on the continent. By the end of this decade, the continent will host 800 million internet users, the California-based firm said, and a third of the world's youth population, making making it an attractive investment destination. Google is hiring engineers, product managers, user experience designers, and researchers to staff the new center, while Suzanne Frey, Vice President for Products, and Nitin Gargia, the head of Google Africa, in a joint blog on Tuesday. The company is investing $1 billion in various projects on the continent over 5 years. Its CEO Sundar Pichai said last October to help economies accelerate their digital transformation. It has already opened an artificial intelligence center in Accra, Ghana, focusing on innovations that can be applied to various challenges. Microsoft has also been investing in technology development hubs in Kenya and Nigeria, investing $100 million and hiring hundreds of engineers in both countries.
Now, in an international news story, risk of medical gear shortage in Russia falls as West restores exports. Exports of essential medical devices Russia is dependent upon from the West have been partly restored, reducing the immediate risk of life-threatening shortages after a near-total collapse when the war in Ukraine began, a Western industry source told Reuters. Russia imports a large share of its medical equipment, such as pacemakers and radiotherapy devices, from the European Union and the United States, and its reliance is particularly acute for the most complex and critical machines. Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, which Moscow calls a special military operation to demilitarize its neighbor, temporarily froze these exports as companies navigated the barrage of sanctions against the Kremlin, said the Western industry source, who declined to be named because of the sensitivity of the subject. While medical devices and prescription drugs are exempt from sanctions, their delivery to Russia has been hit by transport, insurance, and customs hurdles caused by the war and by the restrictive measures, according to two industry sources and a European Commission official.
I have to say, in my lifetime, I haven't quite seen an economic domino effect quite like the one which was started by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Well, those have been our economic news stories. You know what comes up next: economic indicators. Now, one of the issues that the COVID-19 pandemic certainly compounded was the issue of mental health. And a lot of people, you see infographics, things on social media. Not everyone goes to therapy, and generally you want questions, you want to ask questions to the people directly who have the best possible answers. Let's have a look at this conversation Dr. Hina had as she was responding to questions about mental health.
Consevgenia has shared a comment on UNICEF's social media channels that our physical health depends on our mental health. This is exactly right. Actually, our health has three main components. They are physical, mental, and social well-being. Some things that we can do for our mental health that also support our bodies include practicing good communication, asking for help when you need it, setting clear boundaries, and getting enough rest. Miroslav says, there is nothing shameful about that. To show emotions, to ask for help, or to show that you are a person is a sign of strength. Let us be good, brave, and empathetic, because that is how the world will go forward and upwards. Wow, you got it. This reminds me of something that my son's teacher said just recently at the start of school. She said, let us be brave to ask for help when we need it, and let us be brave to accept help when it is offered. Roseanne shared the following reflection. You get treatment for a broken arm, a virus. Why not mental illness? No one should feel bad or be made to feel bad. You're so right. We shouldn't be made to feel bad for trying to get help. Just as we look after our bodies, we need to also take care of our minds. The sad fact is that far too many young people who need it don't have access to appropriate care and support. And shockingly, on average, just 2% of health budgets around the world goes towards mental health. We need to do more. That's all for the moment. I hope you found this useful, and please share your comments and tips in the comment section. Together, we can break the stigma around mental health. It starts with one moment, one conversation, one question. What's on your mind?
Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. Now, Manchester losing is still a very touchy subject, but I won't be selfish and stop Ari from giving us the latest in sports news. Let's see what Ari has for us.
Good day everyone, time for international sport and soccer news first, and it is English Premier League that continued. A big game that was played, and it's Manchester United that played against Liverpool. That game was played at Anfield, the home field of Liverpool, and it's Liverpool that dominated. They won the game by 4-0. So it's a big result for Liverpool. That means that they up into first place at the moment on the log. They played one game more than Manchester City. So at the moment it is Liverpool 76 points after 32 games and 74 points after 31 games. That is for Manchester City. So the next game for Manchester City, it's going to be a home game against Brighton. So in all probability, they will overtake Liverpool again for a 1-point lead. Just a few games left in the league for the teams. 5 games each for Liverpool and Manchester United, or 5 for Liverpool, 6 for Manchester City, and it's getting closer to the end of the season. There's also a fight for the top 4 positions on the English Premier League. That's of course to qualify for the Champions League. That is quite lucrative. The best clubs in Europe that play in that Champions League, and at the moment it is Chelsea and Arsenal also battling out for that. Chelsea in 3rd place at the moment. They've got 62 points after 30 games, and then Arsenal, they are in 5th position, 31 games, 54 points, and the two of them play the next game. That is Chelsea against Arsenal, and then also Tottenham Hotspur is in 4th position, and their next game will be against Brentford. That is an away game for Tottenham Hotspur. On to some tennis news, and a big decision that was made for Wimbledon organisers, and that was in conjunction with the British government. And the decision made by Wimbledon is that they will ban Russian and Belarus players for Wimbledon coming up in July. The tournament starts the 10th of July and finishes the 27th of July. So the decision is no Belarus or Russian players allowed to play. That's because of the conflict, the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And also some of the players I can mention that's not going to be able to play, some high-profile players. Number 2 in the world at the moment, Daniil Medvedev, he's from Russia, so he won't be able to play. Then in the women's draw, it will be number 4 in the world, that is Aryna Sabalenka of Belarus, and also Victoria Azarenka, also of Belarus. They all won't be able to play Wimbledon this year. That's going to be played, like I said, they're starting the 10th of July in London. Then also some Formula One racing news, and it is the next Formula One racing event that's taking place this coming weekend, and news from Red Bull, and that is Red Bull Honda, that say that they have the problems with the fuel system sorted out, and that resulted in Max Verstappen in the first and third races of the season he had to pull out of the Formula One races. The next Formula One racing calendar, the next race will be this Sunday. It is the Emilio Romagna Grand Prix, and that will be at the Imola, the track in Italy. And now for tennis news on international sport, and two tournaments being played at the moment. One on the men's ATP Tour, and the WTA Women's Tour as well is being played. The Barcelona Open is being played on the men's tour, and news from the tournament is that number 2 seed Casper Ruud, he beat Brendan Nakashima of the United States of America. He beat him 6-3 and 6-2 to be through to the next round. That is Casper Ruud, and he is of Norway. And Stefanos Tsitsipas, the number 1 seed, he's also he's yet to play. He's got a bye in the first round, and he will play in the round of 32. On the ladies ATP Tour, it is the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix that's taking place in Stuttgart. That's also on clay, and the news there is Daria Kasatkina. She's from unattached because she's from Russia, and she beat Coco Gauff in the first round by 6-2 and 6-2. Quite a comprehensive win for her. And the number 1 seed Iga Swiatek, she's also in the tournament, the world number 1 from Poland, and she will play Eva Lisch from Germany in the first round of that tournament. And now to conclude, some cycling news. It is the Tour de Alps that's taking place. It was stage 3 that took place, or stage 2 that took place, and that is Pello Bilbao of Spain that won the second stage in a time of 3 hours, 56 minutes and 4 seconds. He was just in front of Romain Bouguet of France in second place, and Attila Valter, he took the third position. The next stage, stage 3, will be over 154 kilometers, and there's going to be 3 climbs in that. So that is the sports news, international sports news for now. Hope you have a great day. We'll talk again tomorrow. All the best. Bye-bye.
As always, we end our show with the highlights, just in case you missed it or you just need a quick recap. Let's take a look at the highlights. Nearly 2,000 Kenyan police mentally unfit to serve. SA's Home Affairs Minister vows to jail all undocumented foreigners. Only 4% of required aid has reached Tigray during mini-truce, says WHO chief. Children in more countries suffer mystery hepatitis. Public bus catches fire on Maputo's city Avenida de Moçambique. 87% of IMF loans force austerity on nations in crisis, according to Oxfam.
Thank you for watching Africa Good Morning as we continue bringing you the stories from the African continent and beyond. You can catch a repeat of this show on our website, oneup2.com, and of course on DSTV channel 285. That's from 8:30. On any other day, you can catch us on DSTV channel 285 as well as Gotv channel 94. And remember that website, oneup2.com. This has been Africa Good Morning. We certainly hope that you are staying safe out there. And if you have any ideas, videos, opinions, do make sure you send them through to us on our Facebook and Twitter, which is Africa Good Morning. From Diana Master and myself, Ashwin Berry, Swera Jaganaka.